Let me tell you something that's going to change your life if you actually let it land. Self-confidence is not a personality trait. It's not something you're born with. It is a skill. That's right. Just like learning to play the piano, learning to speak another language, or learning how to ride a bike. Confidence is built. And if you haven't built it yet, that's not your fault. You were never taught how. You've been sitting around waiting to feel confident before you act, waiting to believe you're good enough before you raise your hand, waiting to feel ready before you try something new. And that's the biggest lie you've ever been sold. You don't wait for confidence. You create it. Let me give you a truth that nobody teaches in school. Confidence comes from action, not from thinking, not from hoping, and definitely not from scrolling on your phone watching other people live bold lives. You build self-confidence when you do the things that scare you, when you show up even when you're uncertain, when you follow through on what you said you would do. That's how confidence is born, from the evidence you create for yourself. Think of it like this. Every time you do something hard, every time you show up even though you're scared, every time you speak up when you'd rather stay quiet, you are casting a vote for the person you're becoming. You are proving to yourself, I can trust me. And that trust? That's the foundation of self-confidence. Do you want to feel more confident? Start keeping the promises you make to yourself. It's that simple. You said you'd get up at 6 a.m., get up. You said you'd go to the gym, go. You said you'd apply for the job, apply. It's not about perfection, it's about integrity. When you follow through, even in the smallest ways, your brain starts to believe, I've got me. And that belief, that's gold. Here's something else that's really important. You don't need to be fearless. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's doing it anyway. It's saying, I'm scared, I'm anxious, I might mess this up, and I'm going to show up anyway. That's real power. You've got this inner critic in your head. Yeah, I've got it too. We all do. It's loud, it's mean, and it loves to tell you that you're not ready, not qualified, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not whatever enough. But let me tell you the truth, that voice is a liar. It's not a sign to stop. It's a signal that you're about to grow. Your job is to interrupt that voice and take action anyway. Use the 5-second rule. Count 5 to 4, 3 to 2 minus 1 and move. Take the shot. Raise your hand. Speak up. Do the thing. Because the moment you take action, even if it's small, you start to build that muscle of courage. And courage is what fuels confidence. And let's be clear, confidence is not about being perfect. It's about being prepared. It's about being resilient. It's about showing up even when things go sideways and saying, I'll figure it out. That's what separates confident people from everyone else. It's not that they always know what they're doing. It's that they trust themselves to learn. You want confidence? Then do the reps. Build it. Practice it. Make it part of your daily routine. Because the truth is, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to magically hand you confidence. You've got to earn it through your actions, your choices, your grit. So the next time you're about to shrink, about to hesitate, about to talk yourself out of something big, don't. Instead, remind yourself, I don't need to feel confident. I need to take action, and confidence will follow. Self-confidence is something people chase their whole lives without realizing they've had the power to build it all along. It's not some magical feeling that appears when you get the right job or lose the weight or finally get the approval you've been waiting for. No, real self-confidence is quiet. It's internal. It's built. And you don't build it by thinking about it. You build it by doing things that prove to yourself that you are someone worth trusting. That's the core of it. Confidence is the deep belief that you can rely on yourself. And the only way to create that belief is through action. The biggest mistake we make is thinking we need to feel confident before we can be confident. But that's backwards. You don't wait to feel confident. You act, and the feeling follows. If you wait around until you're sure, until you're no longer nervous, until the stars align, you're going to be waiting forever. Because the truth is, nobody feels ready. Everyone doubts themselves. Even the most successful people you admire have those moments of insecurity. The difference is they don't let that stop them. They act in spite of it. And every time they do, they strengthen that internal trust. I can handle this. I can figure this out. Every time you take action, even if it's messy, even if it's uncomfortable, you're building a track record with yourself. It's like casting votes for the kind of person you want to become. Want to be more confident? Then start doing the things a confident person would do. Speak up in that meeting. Say no when you need to. Raise your hand. Apply for the opportunity even if you don't meet every single requirement. When you act like a confident person, even if you're trembling inside, you are rewiring your brain. You're proving to yourself that you're capable. And that proof is what builds confidence. Confidence is also built by keeping the promises you make to yourself. And this is where most people quietly destroy their self-esteem. Because every time you say you're going to do something, get up earlier, eat healthier, take that course, and you don't follow through, your brain logs it. It starts to say, see, you don't follow through. You're not reliable. And then you wonder why you don't trust yourself to succeed. You wonder why your inner critic is so loud. But it's because your actions have been teaching you not to believe in yourself. The good news? You can change that starting today. You can build confidence in the smallest ways. Start with one promise. One thing you're going to do today, no matter what. It could be as simple as going for a 10-minute walk, writing one paragraph, making one phone call. Do it. Then do it again tomorrow. Over time, this consistent action becomes your evidence. And that evidence becomes belief. And belief is powerful. When you believe in yourself, you stop needing other people to believe in you. You stop waiting for permission. You stop being paralyzed by fear. Confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about knowing deep down that you're capable and that you've got your own back. That no matter what happens, you'll figure it out. That's what frees you to take risks, to be bold, to stretch yourself. But remember, this doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. It's a daily practice. You will have setbacks, you will doubt yourself, you'll fail. But confidence doesn't mean never falling down. It means knowing you'll get back up again and again. Because your power doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being persistent. So if you're waiting to feel ready, stop. If you're hoping for someone else to tell you you're good enough, stop. You don't need that. What you need is to move, take the step, speak the truth, do the scary thing. You don't need to be confident to act. You need to act to become confident. That's how it works. That's how you become the kind of person who doesn't just dream, but does. Who doesn't just hope, but builds. And it starts with one choice, one action, one promise at a time. Confidence is built, not found. And starting today, you get to build it. Most people are waiting for a magical moment when they'll suddenly feel confident enough to take action, speak up, chase the dream, or stand tall in their own skin. But that moment never comes because confidence isn't a light switch you flip on. It's a fire you build with consistent action. It's built by doing the very things you're afraid of. It's built by pushing past the resistance and choosing growth over comfort. Every time you act despite fear, you create a new version of yourself, one that is stronger, braver, and more self-assured. Confidence doesn't show up before you start. It's the result of starting. And here's something nobody tells you. Confident people feel fear too. They feel self-doubt, they get nervous, they mess up. The only difference is they don't wait for those feelings to go away before they take action. They move with the fear. They take the leap. They speak even when their voice shakes. That's what sets them apart. They've learned that fear isn't a stop sign. It's just a signal that you're stepping into something unfamiliar. And unfamiliar means growth. It means progress. It means you're doing something worth doing. There is so much power in simply showing up for your goals, showing up for yourself, showing up even when it's uncomfortable or uncertain. That is the first act of self-respect. When you show up consistently, you start to build proof that you're someone who follows through. That's where real confidence comes from. Not from being the best or the smartest or the most talented, but from being the one who keeps going. Self-confidence also grows from self-awareness. You can't fake confidence if deep down you're carrying around shame, regret, or a story about not being enough. You've got to face the truth about what's been holding you back. Is it fear of failure, fear of judgment, a belief that you're not worthy? Whatever it is, shine a light on it. Challenge it. Replace it. You don't outgrow your limiting beliefs. You outact them. You do the opposite of what your fear tells you to do, over and over, until your mind learns a new story, one that says you are capable, you are resilient, and you are enough. Another essential part of building confidence is learning to talk to yourself differently. You are the person you listen to the most. So if your inner dialogue is full of criticism, doubt, and negativity, it's no wonder your confidence is low. That voice in your head telling you you're not ready or you're going to fail, that's not truth. It's fear disguised as logic. You've got to interrupt that voice. When it starts to speak, you speak back. You say, I'm doing this anyway. You say, I don't need to be perfect. I need to be courageous. The way you speak to yourself determines what you believe about yourself. Change the voice, change the belief, change the outcome. And don't underestimate the power of preparation. People often think confidence means walking into a room with your head high and your shoulders back, but real confidence starts before that moment. It starts in the way you prepare. The more you practice, the more you study, the more you commit to learning, the more equipped you feel. You don't need to be flawless, but you need to do the work. Because preparation fuels belief. It reminds you that you're ready, that you've earned your seat at the table. Confidence grows when you stop winging it and start owning it. But most of all, confidence is a decision. It's a decision to back yourself, even when the outcome is uncertain. It's a decision to choose self-respect over self-doubt. It's a decision to take up space in a world that has tried to shrink you. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it takes effort. But it's also worth every ounce of it. Because the version of you on the other side of that effort is powerful, unshakable, unstoppable. So stop waiting, stop doubting, stop shrinking, choose confidence, choose courage, choose yourself because you have everything you need within you. Now it's just time to act like it. There's this huge misconception that self-confidence is something you either have or you don't. That some people are born confident and others are just meant to stay small, stay quiet, stay unsure. But that's a lie. The truth is, confidence is built the same way strength is built. In the reps you don't want to do, in the moments you don't feel like showing up, in the small, consistent choices you make every single day to push through resistance. Confidence is not a personality trait. It's a behavior. And if you're not behaving confidently right now, it's not because you're incapable. It's because you haven't practiced enough. Most people wait for permission. They wait for someone to validate their worth. They wait until they feel ready. And that waiting turns into a lifetime of watching other people live boldly while you sit on the sidelines. But what if I told you that you don't need to feel ready to take action? What if I told you that the moment you act, your brain starts to shift? That confidence isn't the result of success. It's the path to it. You build confidence by showing up scared and doing it anyway. That's the gateway. That's the trigger. That's the transformation. You want to know what kills confidence faster than anything else? Self-abandonment. It's the moment you say you'll do something and then you don't. It's the plan you made for yourself that you keep pushing off. It's the workout you skip, the boundary you don't hold, the opportunity you talk yourself out of. Every time you betray your own word, even in a small way, you chip away at your self-trust. And without self-trust, you can't have self-confidence. That's the hard truth. You can't expect to feel powerful if you keep proving to yourself that you're not reliable. Now flip that. Imagine what happens when you become someone who follows through. Someone who says, I'm going to do this, and then does it. That's the key. That's how confidence is wired into your nervous system. Because your brain starts logging evidence, she means what she says. He shows up. They handle it. And over time, that evidence becomes unshakable belief. That's not arrogance. That's earned confidence. Built from action, built from discipline, built from the tiny wins no one else sees. Let's talk about fear for a second. Because fear and confidence are not opposites. In fact, fear is part of the process. Confidence isn't doing something because you're not afraid. It's doing it with the fear. It's saying, yes, I'm nervous. Yes, I might fail. Yes, people might judge me, and I'm doing it anyway. That is real courage. And courage builds confidence. Every time you take a step through fear, your confidence muscle gets stronger. You teach yourself that fear doesn't control you. You prove that you are bigger than the thing that's trying to hold you back. And here's what nobody talks about. You don't need to take massive steps to build confidence. Start small. Send the email. Make the phone call. Speak up in that one conversation. Confidence doesn't come from shouting. It comes from showing up. from stacking small victories, from doing what you said you would do over and over until it becomes who you are. You don't need to climb the whole mountain today. Just take one step, and then another, and then another. That's how confidence becomes your new baseline. It's also important to surround yourself with the right voices. Because if you're constantly around people who doubt themselves, who play small, who settle for less, their energy will rub off on you. Confidence is contagious, but so is insecurity. Be intentional about the people you listen to. Be careful about the stories you tell yourself. You can either talk yourself into your power or talk yourself out of it. The choice is always yours. At the end of the day, confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you generate through action, through choice, through repetition. And it starts the moment you stop outsourcing your worth and start acting like you matter. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need the perfect plan. What you need is a decision to start backing yourself, to stop doubting your potential and start stepping into it. Because once you realize that confidence is built, not born, you stop waiting and start creating. You become the kind of person who doesn't just dream big, but acts boldly, who doesn't just wish for more, but becomes more. And that shift, that's everything. Think about how many opportunities you've missed, how many moments you've talked yourself out of, how many times you stayed quiet when you had something powerful to say, all because you didn't feel confident enough. That feeling or lack of it becomes a barrier. But here's what you need to understand. The feeling of confidence doesn't come before action. It's born from it. You've been waiting to feel ready, to feel sure, to feel like you're enough before you make a move. But it's the move itself, the act of pushing past hesitation, that creates the confidence you're missing. Confidence is not some mysterious quality handed out to a lucky few. It's the result of repeated exposure to challenge, discomfort, and risk. The more often you step outside of your comfort zone, the more evidence you collect that you're capable of navigating uncertainty. That evidence matters. It builds a case in your mind that you're resilient, that you can handle pressure, that you're someone who does hard things. And that's where confidence truly begins, not in perfection or achievement, but in persistence and courage. Most people spend their time overthinking, overanalyzing, and second-guessing. They build these massive narratives in their head about why they can't do something or why it won't work out. And that mental rehearsal of failure becomes more real than the opportunity itself. Your mind can either be a weapon or a prison, and confidence is learning how to take control of that voice inside your head. You have to stop rehearsing defeat and start rehearsing success. Stop predicting the worst and start visualizing yourself rising. Your thoughts shape your behavior, and your behavior creates your reality. Start by paying attention to your inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself when you're nervous? What's the story you're replaying when you don't take action? If your self-talk is filled with doubt, criticism, and fear, that becomes your reality. But if you shift your language, if you start saying, I've got this, I can handle it, this is hard, but I'm capable, you start to program your brain to act from strength, not weakness. Confidence isn't pretending you don't have fear. It's knowing you do and still choosing to move forward anyway. You also need to understand that confidence comes from identity. It's not about what you do, it's about who you believe you are. When you start seeing yourself as a powerful person, a capable person, a person who shows up even when it's tough, your behavior starts to align with that identity. But if you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, that you're shy, that you're not meant for more, then no matter how much potential you have, you'll keep playing small. Change the identity, and the confidence follows. Another way to build confidence is to stop comparing yourself to everyone else. Comparison is a trap that steals your focus, your energy, and your self-worth. There will always be someone smarter, more experienced, more charismatic, but they're not you. And you bring something unique to the table. Your story, your perspective, your energy. Confidence is not about being better than everyone else. It's about owning who you are, knowing what you bring, and showing up with it fully. When you stop trying to match someone else's path and start embracing your own, that's when you become powerful. The truth is, no one's coming to build your confidence for you. No one's going to knock on your door and hand it to you. You have to take responsibility for it. And the good news is, you can start right now. Not tomorrow, not when things are perfect, but today. Make a small promise to yourself and keep it. Speak up in one uncomfortable conversation. Show up for that thing you've been avoiding. Take one step into the unknown. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to move. One small action creates momentum, and that momentum builds confidence. You are far more capable than you give yourself credit for. You've just been trained to focus on your flaws, your mistakes, your fears. But what if you flip the script? What if you trained yourself to look at your progress, your resilience, your growth? Confidence doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. It requires you to stop hiding, stop hesitating, and start showing up as the fullest version of who you are. And when you do, you'll realize that confidence was never something outside of you. It was something you were always capable of building, one bold move at a time. The journey to self-confidence isn't some grand transformation that happens overnight. It's built in the small, quiet moments that no one else sees. It's in the decision to show up when you'd rather hide. It's in the way you speak to yourself after a setback. It's in how you carry yourself even when you're uncertain. Confidence isn't loud. It's not always visible from the outside. Sometimes it's just the quiet belief that no matter what happens, you can figure it out. And that belief is built over time, through action, through resilience, and through a deep commitment to yourself. You don't wake up one day suddenly full of confidence. You build it by doing uncomfortable things. You build it by putting yourself in situations where you're not sure what will happen, but you show up anyway. You build it by proving to yourself that you can handle hard things. Every time you push through fear, every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, every time you risk failure in the name of growth, you add a brick to the foundation of your confidence. And eventually, those bricks become unshakable. People often confuse confidence with being fearless or extroverted or charismatic. But real confidence is something else entirely. It's the courage to be authentic. It's the willingness to take up space. It's the ability to say, "This is who I am," without apologizing for it. That kind of confidence comes from within, not from applause or attention. It comes from knowing that your value doesn't change based on what others think of you. When you learn to validate yourself, when you stop chasing approval, you begin to build a version of confidence that can't be shaken by criticism or rejection. Self-confidence is also built by setting standards for how you treat yourself. If you constantly beat yourself up for not being perfect, you're not going to grow, you're going to shrink. You cannot shame your way into becoming confident. You can't hate yourself into a better version of you. Growth starts with grace. It starts with giving yourself permission to be human, to fail, to try again. Confidence is a side effect of self-compassion. When you treat yourself with kindness, you're more likely to take risks. Because you know that even if you mess up, you'll still have your own back. You have to stop seeing mistakes as proof that you're not good enough. Mistakes are not evidence of failure. They're evidence of effort. They mean you're in the arena. They mean you're trying. And trying, even imperfectly, is how you build skill. Confidence grows when you allow yourself to be a beginner. When you give yourself space to learn and evolve without constantly judging yourself. You don't need to be amazing right away. You just need to be willing to start and to stay with it long enough to see progress. Progress is the fuel of confidence. When you start something new, whether it's a habit, a project, a goal, track your progress. Celebrate small wins. Take note of the shifts, the growth, the moments when you did something that used to scare you. That awareness creates momentum. It reminds you that you're not stuck, that you're becoming. And when you acknowledge your progress, you naturally start to believe in yourself more. You stop seeing the distance between where you are and where you want to be as discouraging. You start seeing it as doable. Confidence also comes from clarity. When you're unclear about what you want or who you are, it's hard to feel grounded. Take time to get to know yourself. What are your values? What do you care about? What makes you proud? When you understand yourself, you stop comparing your journey to everyone else's. You stop looking sideways and start looking forward. Clarity gives you direction, and direction gives you confidence. Because when you know where you're going, even if the road is hard, you can walk it with purpose. Finally, confidence is not a destination. It's not a permanent state. It's something you return to. You might lose it. You might question it. You might feel like you've gone backwards sometimes. That's okay. The goal is not to always feel confident. The goal is to build a relationship with yourself where you can reconnect to your power again and again. You do that through action, through honesty, through growth. Self-confidence is something you earn by showing up for yourself repeatedly. Not because you're perfect, but because you're committed. And that commitment, that's where your power lives.